So may I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Make a motion to amend the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh, sorry, is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Now we need to approve the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the new agenda?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Thank you. Now we need to approve the minutes of the regular scheduled meeting held on May 1st, 2025. May I have a motion for these minutes, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes to approve the minutes from the May 1st meeting. Thank you. Now we are going to the ceremonial portion where we get to acknowledge Caitlin Harris, Miss Walker County. Is she here? Come on up, Caitlin. Thank you. I'm going to read this, and then you will have a few minutes if you'd like to speak to us about anything you'd like to. So, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Recognition of a distinguished citizen by the Walker County Board of Commissioners, Caitlin Harris. Whereas Miss Harris will be representing Walker County in the upcoming Miss Georgia Teen USA pageant. And whereas this statewide platform will provide Miss Harris with an opportunity to demonstrate the strong values, charm, and community pride of Walker County. And whereas we congratulate Miss Harris on this achievement, hard work, dedication, and perseverance serve her well as an inspiration in the community. And we're excited to see where her life takes her next. Signed and sealed this 5th day of June in the year 2025, Angela Teams, Chairwoman. Would you like to say a few words for us?
Yes, I am extremely honored to be able to be here and to be speaking to y'all, to be able to represent this county as Miss Walker County. Though I do hope to bring back a bigger title as Miss Georgia Teen and bring honor to everyone here, and I really hope to be able to make everyone proud.
We sure are assured you will do that first for us. Thank you so much. I will give this to you.
All right.
When is your next Miss Georgia Teen? When is that coming up?
June 26th to 28th. It's a 3-day event, and it's in Clarksville, Tennessee.
The Georgia one's in Tennessee?
Yeah, it's the people who are doing the pageant. They also do the Tennessee pageant and the Mississippi pageant as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Everybody goes to one place?
Yes.
Okay, well, good luck and congratulations so far.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I like that. Okay, now it's time for my report, and I'll whiz through it real quick. Throughout May and this week, the department heads and my team have spent a lot of time on the budget preparation. You may know from years past that we are required to hold 2 public meetings on the vote for the upcoming year's budget. More will be shared about this project later in the meeting when I introduce our new CFO. You will hear from a few of our staff tonight talking about various topics. It will be my practice to have different people speaking so that the public can get to know who is working in their county government. This is part of my transparency and accountability efforts. I will add for the budget request, the commissioners will put focus on what is considered to be the main services and responsibilities of the county government. That includes emergency services, roads and right-of-ways, and the overall governmental budget and how it affects the millage rate calculation. I would also like to share that I will be holding town hall meetings during June and July across the county. Those dates and places will be added to our Facebook shortly. The closest dates are Tuesday, June 17th at the Cedar Grove Community Center and Tuesday, June 24th at the Rock Springs Civic Center. All meetings will begin at 6 p.m., so I hope everyone can try to make one of those meetings. It doesn't have to be your district that you come to. If you want to come to another area, please feel free to show up. And if you want to stay current on what's happening in the county, sign up for the monthly newsletter on our website, walkercountyga.gov. It's a fun way to learn what the county is participating in and how we are helping our communities. And it only takes 3 to 5 minutes to get caught up on the month's activities. The community survey, citizen survey, as we've been calling it, is underway. We have chosen the company, and we'll be working to construct the first series of survey questions. That's going on right now. Because the agreement is not finalized, I will refrain from stating the name of the company tonight, but I can assure everyone that the company has years of governmental entity experience and comes with solid references. The first questionnaire will be online and hopefully will be available the last week of June. There are plans to have future surveys through a strategy that will help us to really understand each community, their needs and their concerns. We will mail some questionnaires to specific residents using technology to determine whom will benefit from that type of communication. It may sound a little complicated right now, but it's really not. This company's got a strong strategy for us, so I'm confident it's going to return really good results, and I'm excited about that. We have installed new technology in some departments and offices, such as the tax assessor's computer processing system has been upgraded. This alleviates a lot of interruptions and redundancy of work efforts for them. ADA doors are being installed in some offices. Obviously, we're responsible for safety and security of our residents and our staff, so there are a lot of buildings that don't have ADA compliant doors, so we're getting those installed as quickly as we can. A new security system has been installed in my office, the administration office. It's never been secured like this before, so we're all trying to get used to pushing the button when we come in the morning and pushing it when we leave. So that's a little challenge for us, but we're getting there. And citations are in effect at the landfill, and their staff is issuing them whenever they see a vehicle that is not covered appropriately. Typically, you can judge if you need a covering when the load is above the sides or overflowing a pickup or trailer. So be aware of that. We don't want you to be cited unnecessarily. Lastly, the government offices will be closed on Thursday, June 19th, in observance of a federal holiday. Juneteenth is considered a second United States Independence Day due to the state of Texas emancipation of enslaved people in 1865. So that's Thursday, June 19th, that will be closed. And I thank you for your interest in your county government administrative activities. Thank you. Now, we don't have any committee reports tonight, so we'll move on to the department reports. And I believe Bailey Clements, Animal Services Director, is here to talk to us about, come on up, Bailey, to talk to us about updates on the voucher program and just general shelter status. Remember to tell us your name, and you can say your title again if you want to. Thank you.
Bailey Clements, Animal Services. I have a couple stats to go over just from January till now, as well as some of the programs that we have going on right now. Since January, we have brought in, whether it be surrenders, strays, or animal control, 168 cats, 20 of which were reclaimed, 421 dogs, 108 of those were reclaimed, 238 of those were owner surrenders, 234 animals have been adopted, 176 animals have been euthanized. That does include owner-requested, sick and injured, and bite cases with a severe history. We got 56 cats that were transported, as well as 48 dogs transported out. 143 animals are currently in our care. We have 613 animal control calls have been ran. That doesn't include follow-ups. 117 citations were issued, 160 warnings. We've had 21 arrests for crimes involving animals. They have picked up 269 animals. 21 of those were returned home in the field. Some of our programs is obviously our biggest, the voucher program. As of now, we've given out 85 vouchers. One voucher allows for 1 dog or 2 cats. The reason we have 85 is because if somebody has only 1 cat and that voucher allows for 2, we are able to add another that only has a single cat. We want to make sure the funds are going as far as possible with that. We still have about 400 people on the waiting list. We are also working with a group called No More Puppies Georgia. They are assisting us with the people that have kind of more immediate needs for spay and neuter, as well as animal control, assisting owners out in the field with spay and neuter. We will be unveiling our new hours starting this Saturday. We will be open from 10 to 2. We are planning to expand that to be longer, as well as one night throughout the week, but we want to see kind of how we need to improve our staffing on those days, how many people we need to add, take away, what our adoptions and everything look like. We will not be taking surrenders on Saturday. We do not have a full staff that day for intake and all the necessary requirements of that, but adoptions, we will be, if there is an emergency, will be accessible, as well as animal control. We have recently started our volunteer program. At this time, we have about 15 regular volunteers that are currently helping with animal care, playgroup, walking, and enrichment. We are adding new roles for those volunteers from customer service, adoptions. Once they've been there for over 90 days, they're all fear-free certified. They help with the, animal care, most important tasks, and then we want to have other roles where their passion is in animal welfare to be able to help out our community and our shelter. With transports, we are working with several local and non-local rescues to get our animals out of the shelter. We have recently rejoined the Georgia Transport Allies, where we will be working with shelters up in Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island, Long Island, all of those to get our animals out. Several other shelters are also part of this group. One of the more local ones would be Murray County, Atlanta Humane, some of those. We have started a pet food pantry as well as shelter assistance. So we're offering free pet food, cat and dog, to anyone in need. We are working to have separate stations throughout the county to make it more accessible, so you don't have to go all the way to North Marble Top if you're in need of that. We are also working to provide dog houses and shelter for anyone that needs it. Animal control is also providing those out in the field, as well as providing temporary solutions for people who are not in compliance to be able to have time to ensure that they are. We are working on a foster program. We're hoping by the end of this month that we will have that coming out. That will be for special needs animals only. Neonate kittens, puppies, animals with specific medical issues, seniors, things where, the shelter environment is not the best solution, not that it usually is for any animal. We're also working on some community outreach programs, microchip clinics, vaccine clinics throughout the summer. We're also partnering with some of the local libraries to get some story times and craft times with officers to go out to the kids to do special readings and events out there, as well as our Director of Animal Control is working on a responsible pet ownership class that we will have here in the county. We'll offer information on state and local laws, tips for new pets owners, low-cost resources from veterinary care to food to housing, any type of resources and training that we're able to give out.
Question?
Lay it.
So the transport up north,
Mm-hmm.
can you kind of explain why we use the northern states to transport animals to?
Mostly because they have a lot stricter laws up there. They hold their animal owners to a very high standard, whether that be spay, neuter, how you can contain them, how many you can have. So their shelters, although right now across the nation everyone is pretty slammed packed, they don't have quite the overpopulation that we are all dealing with, so they are able to help us in these lower states where our laws are not,
So they have less availability for their people that want to
Correct,
pet.
correct. These animals will go up. Most of the time, they have a line of adopters that have already been pre-approved, already been home checked, that are waiting on their specific animal.
Good, that's great.
So it's a phenomenal program, and it's also really cool to have so many shelters within one state working together. We are all providing different transport options. We're all providing, I can give cat food, you can give dog food, so we're all working together with the one goal of figuring out how to deal with this overpopulation crisis.
The other counties, and yeah, that's great. Did the commissioners have anything for Bailey?
So how do the animals get from here to Connecticut? Is that something that there's a company that moves them, or?
The shelters themselves. So the ones that we have going out tomorrow, we will drive to Murray County. Some leave from Murray, some from Toccoa, some from some of the other southern places, and they drive them up.
Anything else? Thank you, Bailey, for that thorough review. Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to introduce our new CFO, our new Chief Financial Officer. If you'll come up, oh, sorry, I forgot you over there. This is Christian Roach, and I'm going to let him tell you all about his background and how he got to Walker County.
So I'm Christian Roach. I grew up, born and raised in Rocky Face, Georgia. Went to Dalton State College for my 4-year degree in accounting. I worked for Catoosa for 5 years as an accountant, and then I moved to Whitfield as the deputy CFO for about 2 years. And I've had extensive leadership training. I have my level 2 certified local government finance officer certification. And yeah, that's.
The biggest thing is Greg approves of you.
Yes. Yeah, the current CFO does like me, so that's good. And I've heard he doesn't like many people, so. So, yes, I started last week. We've already hit the ground running with the budget. I'm excited to get involved and really be a part of Walker County government.
Does the commissioner want to ask Christian anything?
I would just like to add, and I think he's going to be a huge asset with his background in more than one municipality already, working in a couple of other municipalities and seeing how they do things and bringing new ideas to us as well, and you've seen what doesn't work, so I think it's going to be a huge asset
Yeah,
as well.
he's already found some savings in just his first week, and some ways we can do accounting better. Not better in a way that where our auditors will be pleased. And so, yeah, I've appreciated having him just 5 days. So,
Yeah, and on that point, we were told by the auditors that we need to report financials to the board monthly. So I'm going to start doing that. Me and Angie are going to work together to try to craft how we can present those to you so you have better information to make better decisions.
yeah, concise and
Yes.
information for the public and for you guys. So that first report will be on July 10th.
Very
So
good.
his feet are on
Appreciate
fire.
you joining us.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Chris.
y'all having me.
Glad you're here, thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll have it back up later to talk about something else, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Learn by fire. Let's see, where am I at now? Department reports, that's the end of those. So we're now at public hearing. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard 3 cases last month, and so we are going to review those tonight. So I need to say first that I have to suspend or move to suspend our rules concerning public hearing on planning and zoning items. I believe we need to allow in-person public comments on these matters, and the staff has already started the process of amending our code to provide that opportunity. So tonight, I make a motion that we provide up to 10 minutes of public comment for and against each planning item. If there are multiple people who wish to speak, they will need to share that 10 minutes. So do I have a motion to suspend the rules where we don't allow public comment, and we do allow?
Yes, ma'am, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So moved, we will allow 10 minutes for public comment total, for and 10 minutes against. All right, is the applicant here for the Garfield-Dixon request of rezone? Is there anybody here for that? I'm sorry, Dixon, I didn't say it right. Garfield-Dixon request, anyone here? Is anyone here for it that would like to speak other than Mr. Dixon, who's not here evidently? Is anyone here that wants to speak against this, against the request for the rezone? This is property located at 154 Chattanooga Valley Road, Flintstone, Georgia. And the Planning Commission recommended this rezone be approved. So no one's here to speak it for or against. Okay, we're moving on. The second one was Mrs. Wanda Darling Myers, who requested a partial rezone from R2 residential to C1 commercial for property located at 705 Park City Road, Rossville, Georgia. The Planning Commission recommended this rezone be approved with conditions. Is Mrs. Myers here to speak by chance? Is anyone?
Ma'am, she's not, but I was working with her, she's in a wheelchair.
Okay, sure. You want to speak?
I don't really have anything to say, just if you have any questions about it, I'll be happy to address them.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to speak for it? Anyone that wants to speak against it? Okay, then we'll move on then. Thank you. Then the third one is Jackson Abassi requests a conditional use variance to operate a dog kennel boarding business out of her residence located at 609 Holly Drive, Rossville, Georgia, 30741. Tax map and parcel 0-190-048. And the Planning Commission recommended this variance be denied. We have a statement from Bailey Clements, our Animal Services Director, who was in favor to recommend this be approved. I'd like to know, is Ms. Abassi here? Okay, please come up and tell us your situation, please. Say your name and that you live on that road.
My name is Jackson Abassi. I live at 609 Holly Drive. I wrote down just a couple things so that I could remember to talk about it, but I think the biggest issue is that it sounds kind of scary on paper, like a dog boarding business in a residential area sounds a little bit hesitational. But I'm very small. I take a very limited amount of dogs. Bailey Clements came out and saw my setup. She said she didn't see any problems with it. I've been doing this in a residential area in Wildwood for over 2 years now and haven't had a single complaint. I'm basically doing what a lot of people do on the Rover app. The only difference is I have a lot more experience. I'm insured and I'm trying to do it legally. So that's basically what my setup is. The two concerns that they had were traffic and noise, and neither of those I feel like are super applicable. Traffic isn't really a concern because there's only 1 or 2 cars a day. It's just when people come to drop off their dog or pick them up. It's 5 minutes in my driveway and then they're gone. And I live alone. I work from home. So it's basically the amount an average household would contribute to any neighborhood. And then noise I don't think is super applicable because I am very, very cautious about this. I hate barking too, so I'm not gonna make anybody else deal with it when I don't wanna deal with that. I have very strict no bark policy, so if dogs are barking incessantly, they're not allowed to come back. If they're barking outside, they come inside. I also have a new privacy fence that I put up for this. I put panels in between the dogs so they can't see each other when they're inside. I do plug-in diffusers that have calming pheromones. I play music for the dogs, and then I have other things like bark collars if absolutely necessary. One of the neighbors after the planning meeting came up to me and he was talking to me about this and told me that he hadn't heard a peep from my dogs, and I've been there for over a month. So I think that says something. There are a lot of other dogs in that neighborhood that bark a lot, but I think that mine have been quieter than all of them. So I'm very, very paranoid about barking, and I hate it just as much as anybody else. So I'm not gonna let that be a thing. But at the end of the day, I'm just asking for a chance. So if 6 months from now you've had lots of complaints, then by all means shut me down. But I think that I deserve the chance to prove that I can do it professionally, as I have in the past for the last 2 years. But if there's any questions, I would love to answer them.
How many kennels are you wanting to have?
So I have 3 kennels. It's set up in my basement. I take siblings too. So as I told Bailey, the max is usually around like 6, and then I have my personal dogs as well.
How many personal dogs?
So I have 6 personal dogs right now. I actually rescue senior dogs from shelters. So I take them in and then take care of them until they pass. So that's what mine are. They're mostly inside sleeping for the majority of the day. But
And how big is the property you have this on?
it's 0.63 acres.
Any other questions by the commissioners? Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Is there anyone in the audience for this operation? Yes, please speak up.
Sounds like she's.
You can come up here. I'm sorry. I wasn't clear. I'm sorry. Please come up and tell us your name and your status, like your for this.
Sure. Hi, I'm Lisa Duffy. I'm actually a friend of the shelter, the Walker County Animal Shelter. And I just heard this young lady talking about what she's doing to help animals that need help, especially elderly animals. And while I'm here, I was going to say a few things about the shelter, some recommendations, but Bailey already covered everything. I just want to express my thanks to all that the Walker County Animal Shelter staff does. I mean, they do a phenomenal job. And the professionalism that they employ is amazing. I mean, I volunteer there, and to be a volunteer, I had to complete a fear-free shelter course, which was, I've loved animals all my life and cared for animals all my life, but I've learned quite a bit from that. So I'm delighted to be involved, and like I said, I learned a whole bunch of things today, so I have nothing else to add, just great support. Perhaps more funding from the county, though.
Thank you for your comments. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Anyone else for? You're for it? Okay, please come up.
That surprise? I'm for something.
No, I just want to make sure I was just trying to be clear.
No, I'm for this. We have a hard time finding a place to board our animals, and we've used the lady that usually has bird dogs off of Straight Gut Road and things like that. But I'm for boarding. The only thing that concerns me is what is the ordinance on residential having a business in your home? Again, I'm for this, but ordinances, we set precedences. So I'm curious about the ordinance of that, and you know, some of in these other ones is knowing why planning and zoning denied them specifically, because, and then this opportunity you've given now, which I appreciate speaking on behalf of zoning changes is at the spot of the moment, there may have been some people come that if it was known prior to tonight. So that would have been, for or against, it's public opinion, and I appreciate it. But again, I'm for things like this, but I don't know that variant or ordinance with residential businesses and that, and, maybe you can expand on why they denied it, so.
Well, she'd have to get a business permit, and it has to go through that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was concerned about that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak for? Yes, ma'am. Bailey, you want to come up and tell us about your observation?
I think my email's in the back. I'm going to tell y'all that when I first got this from John, my first thought was there's no way this is going to work in this area. The way it is set up, the precautions that she has taken from where they will be housed, how they will be housed, a whole new fencing, the limited amount of animals, I cannot imagine there would be a problem. To our knowledge, from everywhere we've checked out, she has no history of issues with barking, animals at large, anything like that. She has maintained a license with the Department of Agriculture. It seems to me that she has done everything appropriately when, a lot of the times we run into people who try and hide what they're doing, especially when it comes to animals, because everybody's very passionate. I think it is phenomenal for the animals. I think it's phenomenal for the citizens. I appreciate that she is doing everything right when that isn't always the case. So I am certainly for this.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, is there anyone else for? All right, is there anyone who is against this, who's opposed to this, that would like to speak? No opposition? Okay, then we'll move on to our next business, which is unfinished business. If there are no objections, I'd like to consider the next two items as one, since they are from the same applicant and concerning the adjoining, or concerned adjoining properties. This is from our May 1st meeting, and the applicant is the Walker County Development Authority on both these plots. The authority is requesting a rezone from agriculture to industrial for the properties located at 157 Glass Road in Lafayette, Georgia. Tax map and parcel number 0-320-036. And they request a rezone from agriculture to industry for the adjoining property at 0 Glass Road, Lafayette, Georgia. Tax map and parcel 0-320-37. The Planning Commission recommended this rezone be denied for both parcels. So we will, are we voting on this now or are we considering it? Are we voting now?
I think we do.
Do we vote now or are we considering it?
A motion to put it on the table. And then
So
discuss.
we are voting now? Yes.
Well, you have to bring it from the table.
Yes.
Just table.
Yes.
Just table.
Okay, thank y'all. That's why I have my staff here. So in May, on May 1st, these two rezones got tabled till this meeting. So it's coming back as unfinished business. So to finish it, I will have to have a motion
I make a motion that we
for a vote.
bring this to a vote.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion about bringing these motions to a vote, or this motion to a vote? Discussion for it? No, is there any,
Once we get on there, we'll have to make a motion to vote on it.
yeah.
Okay.
Do I have,
We're voting now to bring it to
to
the
just the
vote, to a
table?
vote.
That's right, get it off the table.
Yes, okay.
That's right.
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't clear.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
got it
So is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous to move it off the table and move it to a vote. So now I'm going to ask for a motion for a vote. Who would like to make a motion for a vote? And what that vote is, please.
So I would make a motion to approve with a 200-foot variance around the whole property. Buffer.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, a buffer.
All right, the motion has been made by Commissioner Blakemore to approve these rezones with conditions on both rezones to add that whoever buys it must add a 200-foot buffer.
Vegetated.
Yeah, buffer.
Thank you. Vegetative buffer. Now, will that be from the right-of-way or from
It should be from
the?
the edge right away.
Be from the county right away, 200 feet in, which is
South.
approximately an acre in to the property.
You said all around, but on the southern edge of the property, it adjoins.
It joins the, yeah.
Yeah, not on the R.
Basically bordering Glass Road.
Yeah.
Do we got to vote before we get to discussion on this to set that?
That's where we're getting his
No, I
motion
think
now.
I think the motion can include
Okay,
that,
all right.
the condition.
Okay.
So you're saying 200-foot
So
vegetation?
200 foot,
Buffer.
Buffer on Glass Road or?
South of the Glass Road right away.
And to include the backside of, it butts residential or just the Glass Road side?
I would say around all of it that don't join what Walker County already owns. To protect the property owners too.
so is that south of
It would
Glass
be,
Road?
it would be, well, it would come down Glass Road, it would also be on the west side where it borders the property.
It'd be like a horseshoe.
Basically where it borders property other than
The industrial.
development already into 200.
That's
Okay,
right.
Vegetation.
all right. So the motion is to approve it, approve the rezone with the condition of a 200-foot vegetative buffer to run the length of the property off, that touches Glass Road. We'll word that better in the thing, but, so total, it'll be 220-foot buffer, because that includes the 20 feet from the center line to the edge of the property right away, and then the property.
Well, the way the word is 200 foot
From the right of way.
right.
Okay, from the right of way, okay, got it.
And then any other property touching that is not owned by the industrial park.
And any other property not touching the
That-
industrial,
That is touching,
any other property that is touching.
that is not owned by the industrial park.
All right,
Basically, I think what Robert said is 200 foot on anything abutting private property.
Yeah. Or.
why did you say that in the first place?
Well, I was trying to get there.
We'll get there, okay. We'll make sure the clerk gets that
200
right.
foot of vegetative buffer that is, what'd you say, budding? That
Abutting.
butts abutting any private property.
Could we make this more complicated? Okay, so I think we all understand what the motion is. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make sure legally, can you know what she's saying legally? I mean, it's going to say what Angie wrote, because I can't even read it.
In regards to the 200 foot vegetated buffer.
Yeah.
Where you can put that stipulation on this rezone.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Rezone.
Okay, I'm good then.
Conditions.
I'm good.
All in favor, say aye. Oh, sorry, I
I
apologize.
wanted to comment just as well too,
Apologize.
please, just
Yes.
because I do know that I've actually met and talked with several people about it as well. And I think that their compromise in some situations is the answer. You know, it's kind of a backwards deal, you know, the property was purchased and then it has to come to us to be rezoned. So, you know, I do want to initiate some liaisonship or some way that the Board of Commissioners can be aware of what the Development Authority's doing, that we're gonna end up having to be affected by it and make a decision. But I think that, you know, compromise, a 200 foot, that's a pretty good buffer all the way around. And once that goes back to natural, once it's vegetated, goes back, it's a pretty good. So I think we're doing fair there. I would add that, you know, the industrial park, and I don't know the year that it was put there, but I know it's got to have been 12 or 15 years, if anybody knows the year, perchance. Ma'am?
Stephanie Watkins is here.
Stephanie, do you know when they developed that? When did they purchase that and open the industrial park? When was it first developed, first taken over?
Was it
The
2013?
first 10 between 2014, 15, but I think process maybe began 2009, 2010.
Okay. So, yes, ma'am. So point being, it's been there 15 years and it's been an industrial park for that, and we've known that we want to be careful in marketing it. We want the right kind of industry and those things there, but it has been deemed that for quite some time, and everything's there for that as far as the rail and the high-speed internet and everything that's needed for it. So I understand, I hear the folks, and I think that we are putting some stipulations on here that unfortunately will restrict some of Stephanie's ability to market the property. But I think that that's something that we have to look at and try to be fair in that compromise. So I think that I believe that it's a good thing, and I think that's a good compromise for us to make on. I'd like to see some industry. I'd like to see it making some money and and helping the county and the county residents all over. So, but that's all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any other comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. The rezone is, for both properties, is approved. All right, now we move on to public comment. So, again, we have 5 minutes for each person that would like to make any kind of comments you would like. And so feel free to come to the podium. State your name and...
I'm Stacy White. I live on Lynn Trail, which is right off Glass Road, and I just want to let you all know I'm very, very disappointed in this decision. I think the purchase of that property was a very foolish decision by the planning board, because once you bought it, then you have to do something with it, and you did it, and you didn't care what it was going to do to the community around it. You knew everyone around. There's people that live there. We love that property because it's beautiful and it's peaceful. And our house sits on top of the hill, and we have a perfect view down in the pasture, so it doesn't matter if there's 200 feet or 400 feet, we're going to be looking at whatever plant you decide to put in there. There's nothing we can do about that. And I have no faith or confidence in y'all that y'all are going to enforce even any of that, because you haven't done it with Audia. There were supposed to be things that Audia was supposed to do to minimize the impact on our community that apparently have never been enforced by y'all. I'm just incredibly disappointed. Like, I want to cry. My husband and I and our family moved here 6 years ago. This was supposed to be our forever home, and I'll tell you, I want to sell now. I don't even want to live here anymore. I'm very upset by this decision. And I just think that the money you spent on that could have been spent for other things in our community that could be a better help than bringing in industry. We don't even have that low of an unemployment rate. Audia can't even, they constantly are hiring people at Audia because nobody wants to work these jobs. I don't understand why you're bringing in another industry into such a beautiful place, and are you trying to turn that end of Lafayette into this end where Roper and all that stuff is? Because when I drove through there the other day, it was one for sale sign after another, and nobody wants to live around that. I just don't understand. The number one income source for this town and this county is agriculture. Why don't you play to that?
Well, there may be agricultural type of industry that chooses to come there at some point in time. And I would, and I think that would be, that's something that it could be in any shape, form, or fashion. You're right, agriculture is our number one in the state of Georgia.
I don't have anything else to say. I'm just really disappointed in y'all, and I will remember this at the next election.
Good evening. I'm David Boyle. I'm here as a lifetime resident of Noble and as chair of the Noble Community Association, and I spoke at the last meeting. I have some concerns that relate to what Commissioner Askew was saying. I'd like to know what the plans of the county and the Development Commission Board are for the 6 large empty industrial sites in Walker County right now. Barwick and Lafayette, Reichhold in Kensington, 32 acres, the Barwick Archery Plant, 216 acres in Kensington, Crystal Springs Bleacher in Chickamauga, the Peerless Rossville Complex, and recently the Yates Bleacher in Flintstone. And you say, well, these are privately owned. Well, so was the property in Noble, the 100 acres of agricultural land was privately owned. I'm concerned that in 25 years, if this industry is approved, whatever it is, technology may change, leading to a large vacant industrial plant on what was formerly wonderful, beautiful farmland. Who's going to pay for the cleanup? Will the taxpayers of Walker County pay for the cleanup of these industries? Or are you counting on the federal government like they're trying to do in Rossville, because the federal government may not do it anymore? And once it's messed up, it is very hard to return a site to a pristine, beautiful site. Would you, county commissioners, insist that the industry locating there post a bond to cover cleanup, site restoration, and environmental damage? Or will the taxpayers of Walker County pay for the cleanup in 25 years or 10 or whatever amount it is after a period of blight and possible pollution? Who will work in the new factory? Are you counting on labor moving into the county or commuters from Chattanooga or Dalton? If folks move to Walker County, where would they live? I think we have a housing shortage. I'll pass this to you. I'm especially interested in some relationship with the Development Authority that operates as a quasi-governmental organization, and we need to know what they're doing before they do it.
That's exactly what I stated, is that we're working on trying to create a better liaisonship, because this did pop up, and we didn't, and the Board of Commissioners was not aware of until the purchase was made, and then it gets dropped in our lap. So, you know, it's that's just the way it is. But I appreciate this list, and I will look at that, and we'll be working with the Development Authority for sure.
I'd like to read that too.
Jamie
I'm sorry,
Halsey.
Jamie.
Oh, that's okay. I don't agree with this. So you know. I don't doubt this is probably predetermined what's going on at 99 acres. Can't be fooled by somebody that's worked with state economic development authorities, and this one seems to be different. But anyway, this was denied by planning and zoning because of all the existing industrial land in the county and development authority already owns, right? Okay, Angie campaigned on reducing land owned by Walker County or the Development Authority. It's also denied because of the complaints of the people, okay? So this meeting, we were allowed to talk 10 minutes about these zoning changes, but here's the issue. It goes back to the commingling of commissioners here. Brian Hart happened to be at the Development Authority meeting. Oh, so happened. Brian, since you're here, tell us your thoughts on this 100 acres, you know. Oh, well, I've been talking to other commissioners. They think we're fine. We think we're fine with a 200-foot buffer. Okay, we as y'all commissioners, the collusion of commissioners discussing this without bringing this proposal back to the residents is, well, how about a buffer? But I know some of us citizens were there too, okay? What about a berm 50 feet high? Won't we, you know, throw that out there? And I forgot the boys, Brandon mentioned that even. He's a friend of some people's here. You know, what about noise? You know, vegetation will not stop noise. Brian, you know how long it takes to grow a tree and corn and poison oak. So where's the consideration? You're supposed to represent the citizens who vote for you, okay? And that's not happening. So I know the deal's been done probably. It's one you had to get done. You got hundreds of acres of existing land. You'd be better off giving the industrial land away just so somebody might grade that land where it could be buildable. But no, we won't need 100 more acres up of agriculture land, Brian. Beautiful land. And we're not going to make an effort to get, I know, Shannon looked at the clock too, Angie.
I'm just waiting on my turn to reply.
Oh, go ahead and reply.
No, I do not want to take your time.
No, I'm done.
No, obviously you're not.
That's funny. I'll repeat myself if I say anything else. So I don't see the consideration to the citizens, don't see the effort to sell other industrial land, work to get it gone as you promised, and I don't see the need to discuss between commissioners on making a solution without getting to these citizens and see if they're okay with the solution. Obviously not. So, okay, I'm done.
So my reply, I've got several things to say, so please let me finish before you.
I don't interrupt. Go ahead.
So you can stop this time if you want. First of all, this property was purchased before me. I have not purchased any property since I've come in office since January. This was purchased over a year ago. Second of all, it is our job as commissioners to sustain the future of this county. And the way we do that is to plan, and that is what we're not colluding. We have to talk to each other to plan. We don't get together two or more, ever, and because that's the guideline, that's the rule, federal rule. 2 or more commissioners at a time cannot be in a room together or in a car, because that would be looking like we were trying to make a decision or sway the board. So we do not do that. I am trying to sell property. I gave the board a huge list of our properties a month ago, and we're working on whittling those down to what we can actually sell. I have found out that some of our property is historic property, and I can't sell it. So that was new to me. Then some properties are so odd-shaped that we're trying to figure out what we can do with those. And we are looking at all those things with our lawyers' help. So I feel like I am doing what the citizens have asked me or hired me to do, and I don't understand why you think I haven't. And I really resent the fact that you stand up there in front of everybody saying that we're not doing a good job here because we are very limited on what we can do.
Well, it's not a good job to not work with the citizens who first, like this lady here, to come back with a solution. You make the decision on your own, you 5, to say, oh, we're good with this, but as the citizens.
Well, to her point, there will be a vote next year. So, and every year
A vote to...
Well, she threatened to make a difference when she votes.
Well, no, she's still here. She's still living here. But I'm saying is,
that's
taking
right.
over.
That's
so what's the
everyone's
date when it was purchased a year ago?
Stephanie, do you know what the date was?
October of 22, actually.
Really? That one? Wow. Okay.
So you can finish your time. You can start at the time again, please. Thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. But like I said, going to the citizens is important. So, but it probably is not a solution for the folks. Just what y'all come up with. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
I think you all know what my feelings are. I've told you in the past at the other meetings. I am concerned, you talk about the 200-foot buffer zone.
Oh, I'm sorry, you need to say your name. I apologize.
James Spurgeon.
Thank you.
The 200-foot buffer zone. How is that going to come into play when you bring it off of Highway 27 to make an entryway? If you put a factory, whatever you put out there, how is that going to affect the church, the people, and all that with the right-of-way being what it is? There's not enough room in there unless you bring it off of the industrial boulevard or whatever you call it. It goes out to the other places. And I'm really concerned, well, about the train issue. We sit and wait now, for the train to get across and everything. If you put another plan out there, we're going to be sitting forever in the mornings, people going to work, waiting for that train to get out there. I just think there's some other concerns that needs to be looked into. I'm still worried about the groundwater issue. I know they've done some core drilling out there. And I also know, that they've surveyed a spot out. So that tells me that probably there's something in the works. I don't know. We would like to know what the plans are for that property. What kind of development's going in there? I'm sure that you all would have some idea, and I wish you would let us know, what's going to be down there, what you're planning on. I know you're changing it, the zoning, but what's going to be there? We want to know. And we heard this lithium battery thing, which it's my understanding that that's explosive. We don't want something like that down there. But tell me how you're going to get traffic if it's going to be a plant out there or whatever it's going to be with a lot of cars. How are you going to get them in there? Are you going to go through the industrial boulevard, you're gonna have tractor and trailers probably coming in there. Are they gonna come in Little Old Glass Road? Even if you widen it, it'd still push it to get tractor trailers. I understand there's two houses out there that plans have already been made to tear them down. So that tells me probably that there's gonna be something going through right there across the railroad track into that property. I don't see with this 200-foot buffer and this right-of-way, how you're gonna get all of that in there to go out Glass Road. Now, I could see where you could come in from the other side, from the industrial, part. That's all I've got to say. That's my feeling on it.
Anyone else want to speak? Please, Oh, sorry, hold on. Thank you. Go ahead. Tell us your name.
I'm Diane Kuzma Hudson, and I am one of the nearly 50 residential property owners who share a fence line with the Development Authority. I learned that my neighbor, the Development Authority, was created through legislation enacted in 1964. They are not necessarily an arm of the county. They are an instrumentality of the state of Georgia, and they are a public corporation. Their purpose is to develop, promote, and expand industry, agriculture, commerce, natural resources, and vocational education for the public good and the general welfare. I assume that their neighbors, meaning me, the folks at Emerald Acres, the folks on Straight Gut, the folks on West Reed, the folks on Glass, and the folks on Lynn Trail, would be considered in that term the general welfare as a purpose of their being. So my question to you is, what is the process used to touch base back with us, the neighbors, to see how your decisions are impacting us? Who comes along and says, or asks Bob, hey Bob, how are things going? So that Bob can share what he thinks. So what does Bob share? Bob says, well, you know that industry you put in called TGR Incorporated, you know they create and raise free-range tigers. Well, just think of free-range chickens, and you've got the picture of free-range tigers. And the authority put in a request that they have a fence on their property, but it shouldn't be more than 10 feet tall because that might be ugly. So they put in a 3 or 4 foot fence, and you know what? The tigers can jump right over that fence, and I can no longer grill in my backyard because it attracts the tigers. My kids can't play in the backyard because of the tigers. And getting to my car with the kids is a real cardiovascular exercise. And poor old Miss Hudson down the street, who's elderly, she's pretty slow, and she walked to the mailbox and she got eaten by a tiger. And now her family can't sell the property because of the tiger infestation. Obviously, the tigers stand for something else in my story. They are groundwater pollution, surface water pollution. There are 4 different kinds of air pollution that can be offered by the gift that the Development Authority gives us. There's light pollution, there's sound. They could be storing explosives or hazardous chemicals. Those are just to name a few of the things that could be tigers coming across the fence to us. So I ask, when and how and with what frequency does the authority or the county come back to Bob and say, how are things going? So that Bob can actually share the fact that he's got a tiger problem on his property. So what is the process? And if there is a process right now, I would like to be included in it. I'd raise my hand, come ask me a question, give me a survey. But I kind of have come to suspect there is no process for reaching back to us and finding out what's going to happen. I doubt that nobody has ever called all the neighborhood at Emerald Acres together to have a group meeting to ask them how things are going for them. You could write a letter. You can get everybody's address right off the property tax map. I've never received a letter asking me if Audie is a problem. I would bet the Whites have never received a letter. We could do surveys. you could get people's email addresses. But as where I stand, I haven't seen the process, but if there is one, I'd love to sign up. But I think there isn't one, so no one ever comes to ask about our general welfare. So if there isn't a process in place, I would ask the commission, why not? I'd love an answer to that question. And it's not a rhetorical question. So I do look forward to hearing the answer to that question. Why don't we have a process to involve the neighbors who were impacted by these things? And if you need to get in touch with me, well, Commissioner Askew has my contact information, so the rest of the board, because he's my commissioner, you can ask him how to get hold of me. And I thank you for your time, but I do hope you will consider some way to work with the neighbors who are impacted by the work the authority does, because they really are a very standalone entity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I'd like to reply just a little bit. I really appreciate the explanation that you gave on the difference in the Board of Commissioners and the Development Authority. They are standalone entities. And I did come and sit down with you, and that was a question that you posed to me, and I can tell you right now that I have already passed that question on to our economic development people we've talking about. That's part of what we're trying to figure out, is because you're exactly right. There does need to be a follow-up and somebody to talk to and somebody to come around. So I heard you when we met, and I've already started trying to do some follow-up myself, and don't have the answers yet, but we're going to get to we'll get a process in place, because it needs to be there for not just this project, but from now on, so that we don't get into these situations. So thank you for your input and for your digging into it for us as well.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, I'm Jamie Bennett. I'm one of the members of the Board of Assessors. Right. So for the past almost 4 years, the Assessor's Office and the Board of Assessors have working on ArcNet with a myriad of issues and problems and inability to be able to do daily tasks or even be able to send out notices on a timely manner because the system itself didn't work. I just wanted to take this opportunity to get on the record that Chairman Teams listened to the Assessor's Office and the board. She listened to our problems, she listened to our challenges, and she didn't just listen, but she acted. So this past week, the Assessor's Office has moved to Ringgold Telephone Company, and RTC from the very beginning was very open, transparent, worked with us on every step and every possibility that could happen or what needed to happen. The transition time has been weeks instead of months. And once they installed the system, it was hours instead of days. They were on site, moved all our computers over, and now the Assessor's Office is running at a full head of steam. No problems with the internet, no problems with any of the positions or any of the computers that they're using now. We just wanted to thank Chairman Teams for not only listening to us, but acting on that, and the entire board. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope that this is a stepping stone for the rest of the departments in the county to be able to see the work that RTC has done and the quality and transparency that they provided. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
I live on Hogjowl Road in Kensington. But one thing I forgot to say is there are some fantastic animals at the shelter, and I see a lot of wonderful people here, so don't forget to think about pets. But one of the things that I do as a volunteer is clean dishes, well, dog bowls, and I noticed there's some pretty serious plumbing problems that are looming. One, the sprayer and the sink that we use to keep everything clean needs repair. And I also noticed there might be some plumbing issues. I noticed an odor coming out of one particular kennel. So I don't think we want to have any kind of clogs. Preventative. In other words, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if I could persuade the maintenance group to go maybe fix the sink and just check the plumbing so it doesn't overflow. So, thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay. Thanks for a second opportunity.
Anyone else like to speak? Mr. Pope?
Is that something in the public comment section?
It still is, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm Jim Pope. And as I was coming to the meeting today, I took a shortcut off of East Murchie Road coming up Concord Road. Now, many of you commissioners may not be very familiar with the Concord Road, but in East Murchie, it is an important road to us. It's not the main road. In fact, it's a dirt road on part of the process. But through the years, it has served our community good. It's probably been there ever since the county was formed. And I know during my lifetime period, it has been there and has served some good purposes, like being a shortcut for emergency routes when the water's up or wreck has got the East Murchie Road blocked or something like this. We have to go that way for a shortcut and get up to Highway 136. It's a connector road from the East Murchie Road to Highway 136 up through there. And it's been a very important road, but sadly to say, there are a couple landowners that has land adjoining the road that wants to close it down for personal gain so they can grab title to that land and not considering what the other people needs a road for. We need it. And it's a good road for us to travel on farm machinery. It's kind of dangerous to get out on 136 with some farm machinery, and there's an auction that goes up there a couple of times a year. If we buy farm machinery, we'd like to go down the Concord Road, stay off of the big state highway, and so it's a safety factor there. And as I say, we got a couple people that wants to close the road. But as I say, the road has been there probably ever since the county's been formed, during my lifetime, and I'd like to think that this generation is going to preserve that road for the future generation. Nobody can tell what the future generation is going to do. These landowners are going to die out one of these days, and it's not going to be long, because it's not going to be long for any of us to die out. And so nobody knows what the future holds, but we would like for you to commit yourself to saving this road. Now, if that road was closed like these two adjoining landowners are wanting, then once it's gone, the future cannot open that road back up unless they spend millions and millions and build a new road. This road has a good solid base, but it's got potholes in it. It hasn't been maintained properly in the last many years of getting these potholes covered up. And when I came tonight, I had to weave and dodge a little bit to get around these potholes. So we would like just for you to know this and to preserve the county property, because it's very valuable for us now And in the future, it's going to probably be also very valuable. And we need to have consideration for that future people that needs to use the road. I'm thankful that our ancestors had the foresight to save it for us. Now we need to save it for them. Well, there might be more I need to say, but I see my time is up, and I don't like to run over time. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay, please come.
Mr. Pope,
Okay.
I'm his neighbor.
Okay.
I'm Jody Hunt Harris, and I own property on Shahan Lane and also on Concord Road. I'm with Mr. Pope, where'd he go? I'm with him on keeping that road open. I'm a lifelong citizen of Easter Murchie. My brother lives over on Concord, and we use that road to come through, sometimes with farm equipment, and we also take stuff to the auction and bring equipment home sometimes. But just for the history, it's been there so long, and it's a decent road. I understand, the Popes are my friends. The part of the parties that want to close it are friends. They're lifelong friends, but I felt like I had to speak up about keeping that open. I plan to leave the property on Concord to my great-nephews. Well, we don't know what's going to happen when one landowner, I think he owns 1,400 acres. He's not going to live forever. When he dies, if he's going to divide that up, how are you going to get there? I've had things happen in our community there where a road was blocked, which kept an elderly man from reaching his own property. That happened on Hunt Road when that was closed back in '88. The landowner put a fence up, which happened to be my ex-husband, but then our neighbor, he couldn't get to his little field there anymore. So I think you ought to think about what might go on in the future. And I'd like to see it stay open, and I'd like to use it. My daughter is a nurse practitioner at Atrum in Trine. They go through there in emergencies when the creek is up there on Easter Murchie. She travels through Concord to get over to 136 in order to go to work. My son-in-law is a fireman. He's not working presently, but he might have to use that sometime. And I have a granddaughter that's an EMS person. So sometimes in bad weather, they have to get out of there. They don't want to go to Subligna and Adairsville to go to Calhoun or that way to go to trying to work. So it's a good access. I'd just like to see it stay open. I guess that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
My name's Carla Hunt, and we have property on Concord Lane. We just happened to use that road today with a tractor to get over to the other family on Easter Murchie, so we wouldn't have to use that road going way down 136 and trying to get hit by the big trucks and stuff, or going up Easter Murchie. We also go that way to church, which is the Easter Murchie. And family lives over there on the other side of Concord Lane. So I would appreciate it if we could keep it open.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
My name's Ralph Harris. I'm here, my wife's Jody. I'm wanting to keep the road open, but something happened, nobody mentioned here. People know that road's dirt. They're not wanting it paved. The community's not. Put some charity in there and the dozer in a couple of days to grade it out. Brian made a statement, it's a bad curve. It is a bad curve, one bad curve. Put a sign up on each end of the road. Dangerous curve, one lane. They do it for bridges. Also, I heard that they're going to redo that bridge on East Murchie. Is there any truth to that?
Well, we've got state money coming to do that. It's going to be some period of time, 3, maybe 4 years. Carla's not here to address it, but yeah, we are on a list, so yes, it will eventually happen.
That'd help you immensely having Concord Road open whenever they work on that bridge versus going south to turn and come back north.
Yeah. The state's identified, yeah, that's true, the state's identified Ditch Creek as a bypass when we do it, but there's some other options being discussed too. The whole thing is at least 3 years away.
Another question. By you being kin to one of the landowners that's wanting the road closed, are you gonna be allowed to vote? Looks to me like there's gonna be a conflict of interest.
Let me tell you where we are in this process, because the guy that bought the old Shahan farm, that y'all sold to him, and the Popes that have been maintaining Concord Road themselves for several years, because
Just to the end of their property, not all of it now.
Let me finish, please.
Okay.
Didn't interrupt you. But the county wanted to come there and widen that road and fix it sometime. They would have to cut down those 200-year oak trees there, so the Popes just said, we'll maintain the road. And they have maintained the road. Then the guy that the Shahan sold the farm to, they can get on their land and drive from South Dick Creek to Eastern Murchie Road, all on their land. So they had a lawyer contact the county about closing the road, and that's where we are with it right now. The lawyer has talked to Colin Bowers at the road department. Colin's working on it. I don't know the process or anything if he did decide to close it. That's where it's at now.
Because the man owns property on both sides of the road, he has this right to pursue this, correct?
They can ask, I'm not saying we're gonna close, they can ask.
To pursue it.
One thing that concerns the county and the taxpayers is, it is a county road. If somebody went down that road and had an accident, we can be liable. We pay for tires when they hit a pothole when it just happens. I understand it's a dirt road, and people don't really know it's a dirt road, they're not gonna go more than 10 miles an hour down it. But if the bridge closure takes place, people will use that road as a bypass, and we will have to spend some money on it. We have allocated $5.2 million to spend on Manning Mill Road this year. That's how much it's taken to repave all that, so that's just things that we have to consider. I'm not sure the process or even how it would take place. The lawyer has not seen it, so.
I would speak to that too. As per the Enabling Act, it's a board function that the board would have to vote, this board would have to vote to open, close any roads, streets, or alleys. That's in our Enabling Act. So it can't happen without coming before us into a full vote. Just so you would know that that's in the Enabling Act.
I don't think we've closed the road since we took office.
We haven't, but we have the authorities, it's clearly stated in there. We have the authority to open, close, or, at any time. That's part of the board function of the legislative documentation.
So that's what the process is now, is Colin works with our county attorney and works with their attorney, we'll keep everybody posted.
But it will be brought before the meeting before anything's done. Before anything's done.
Yes, it cannot happen without, the attorneys can talk all they want, and they can cut any deal they want. This board will make the decision of whether the road's open or closed. That's the way the legislation has it drawn up.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Good choice of words.
Thank you. Sir?
He just said, he said good choice of words. The lawyers can,
Oh,
but
I'm
we're
sorry,
gonna,
I couldn't hear it.
but we're gonna make the final decisions what he was wanting to hear.
Please tell us your name.
Jonathan Lassiter, City of Rossville. So good evening, everyone. So my name is Jonathan Lassiter, and I am the interim mayor of Rossville. As part of my responsibilities, I represent Rossville community and oversee various administrative duties. One of my top priorities is ensuring the safety of all community members. I have dedicated a significant amount of my time at this role, partnering with Walker County to enhance training for the Rossville Fire Department. The city has made significant strides in supporting construction of a splash pad in our city park, a project designated to enhance recreational opportunities for families. However, Teddy Harris decided to relinquish 8.86 acres of valuable land from our city park to facilitate this development. The splash pad has raised concern that the land is valued at $750,000, $750,000. Why did former Mayor Harris give away such property without fully exploring other options that could better meet our city's needs for training for our fire department? That decision is concerning, as our fire department depends on that land for advanced training and emergency exercises. Losing this resource challenges realistic training, preparedness, and impacts the safety of all Rossville, Walker County residents. In February, I reached out to you, Ms. Teams, and followed up several times regarding a simple proposal. I inquired whether the unused land behind the old Rossville High School, also known as the former middle school, could serve as our new volunteer training site. This location was a perfect option since former Mayor Harris had given away the city park property with no plan in place for future training. So let's briefly discuss this land at number 2 Bulldog Drive. The school gave this property to the county for free. However, it has been unused for a long time, and currently the land is not in use by the county. The city has no plans to put anything permanent on that property. The city did not ask the county to give this property away, and let's note the value is only $22,000. Remember, former Mayor Harris had already given away 8.86 acres to the county, valued at $750,000. Therefore, there should not be any issue for the city to use this property. The fire department will set 2 containers to simulate smoke-filled training, helping volunteer firefighters enhance their skills to protect Rossville, Walker County, and themselves. Focusing on community needs, using resources wisely is essential for ensuring safety for everyone. I was disappointed with the Board of Commissioners' decision when they denied this request. It raises concerns about the safety and well-being of Rossville and Walker County. We need leaders who support our communities, not hinder progress. It's troubling that Rossville cannot use the empty county property within our city limits, suggesting a lack of support for our efforts. Many residents may find this situation confusing, and rightfully so. Commissioner Blakemore, there was an opportunity for you to support the citizens that you represent from District 1. If you have a better suggestion for a volunteer training facility, please let me know. If not, why are you against something that your constituents clearly would benefit from? I expect better communication from you, Ms. Teams, concerning our positions. I left you multiple voicemails, and I'm uncertain whether why your request to dismiss this matter was overlooked or the disregard for the need of our constituents. After waiting a week, your unexpected phone call was missed by me, so I will apologize for missing your phone call. So I'll leave you with this. Are you satisfied with the legacy you're creating regarding the treatment of cities in your county? I urge the board to reconsider allowing Rossville to utilize this property located at number 2 Bulldog Drive. I'm also going to pass out correspondence between myself and Commissioner Teams and a picture of the property. That way everybody can see there was no reason why the board couldn't let the city of Rossville use this property.
I will add, I never said I was against it, and I reached out to you via text, I still have it, and asked for a meeting so me and you could get on the same page.
About this property? No, sir, not this property.
Not about the property.
That was several months ago about a different situation.
And I still never got the meeting.
Well, I will add that Mr. Lassiter is exactly right. I was lax in returning his voicemails because I was in the middle of budget, and it's not an excuse, but I was literally in the middle of all the budget stuff. And what I did was I talked to our Chief Hodge about the location that Mr. Lassiter wanted to use, and Chief Hodge had a great concern that it's right in the middle of other houses, and that was too close to the, can you come back up, Jonathan, please? I want to have a conversation about it, if you don't mind. So, Chief Hodge, is Chief Hodge here? I can't see back there.
Yeah, he's here.
I don't mean to pull you out, I'm sorry, but I'm using your name, so I just want to make sure you're here when I'm not misquoting you. But his concern was about the, and I think I talked to you about it, that the other residents that live in that same area might be disturbed by the firefighters using the smoke and all the noise, and we might could get past that, I don't know, but it just seemed, we just felt like it was in too close proximity of other houses.
Well, I appreciate that. I know you had addressed that to me when I came to the senior event, but you still never got back with me. I mean, you can talk amongst your board that this is my city, but I'm trying to do this for it. So if y'all have any concerns, I would love to have been able to address those before you shot our needs down. So I would like some respect. I am interim, but in the meantime, if I don't get elected, somebody else can fight this fight. But for now, I'm having to stand up for our citizens.
You're exactly right, and I apologize for disrespecting you. I didn't mean to. That's not my intent. And I do want to help our cities. I actually am very very active in trying to figure out how the county can support the cities without being interfering, but I apologize if that was the way you took it.
Yeah, like you
Can I
said.
ask a question? When did you reach out to her? And when did this come before this board? Did I miss something?
No, it didn't come.
No, he said it come before the board, so I'm trying to figure out when it came before the board, because I have not seen anything or heard anything about it. So I'm asking you, when did you reach out to her? Was that the last 2
Did I say
weeks?
it came before the board? I said I was disappointed in the board.
But what?
Well, he-
but
me-
it-
it's
I-
me.
It's her responsibility.
He's
But-
the sport.
But you said it came and we denied it. That's what I'm asking. You stated we denied it and I hadn't seen anything on it. That's why.
I think he's talking about my denial.
Well, that's why I'm asking, when did you reach out to her?
Back in February.
Okay.
And then I've corresponded several times.
Yeah, but the board has not denied anything though, because I hadn't seen anything on it. Because it would become, she would bring it before us, we'd have to put it on the resolution. We have not denied it, because I have not seen anything on it.
Okay, so Ms. Teams did not get with everybody, but apparently Mr. Blakemore knew about it. And I don't know if you knew, did you know about it?
Let me check,
Yeah, I had the conversation about it because I was under the impression that you wanted us to give you the property.
No.
That's the way I understood it.
That's what I
You
thought
wanted
too.
it given to you.
That's what I
And we had
thought.
tried to
Anybody
take some
reach out
deals
to me for
with prior
clarification?
administrations and work with you up there. So be careful, we're coming in real hard, Jonathan, when you making allegations. Now, if we wanna work together, we'll be glad to work together, but you coming in a little hot on us, and we, like Gene said, let's not come before this
Well,
board.
and let me apologize if I misunderstood you, because I thought you meant for the county to give it to you.
And you
And
could have
have
reached
you
out for
said,
clarification.
has anybody on this board said anything to me about it?
No,
There
no.
was talks
That's
before
right.
Angie came in, but nobody since Angie's been here this year, including you, has reached out to your district commissioner.
That's
And I
a
think
two-way
that-
street.
I think out of
I
respect,
still have a text,
And I agree, but that
and
was
I
for,
asked for you to sit down and let's work our
that's when
differences.
you were in the city. This is city and
And
county.
it says for the betterment of our county and city, and you said you would, and I'm still waiting on a response.
So I said, let me know, and I'm waiting on your response.
Can
Look
I-
at it again, please.
can I offer this to you? Because I want to make this right with you.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want the city of Rossville to think that I don't care about them. So how about that I inform, we talk and I get down right what you want or what you're asking for. Then I let every single one of the board members understand what's going on, and we start over.
And if you had have reached out to me, the city already had a memorandum of understanding written up. I never thought you, without getting with the board, if that's the clarification, would just shoot it down without even
Well,
trying.
No, I did try. Like I said, I spoke to Chief Polish, but I was under the impression you wanted it given to you too.
Well, we had a memorandum of understanding. You can reach out to City Hall tomorrow and they can fax that over there to you if you're interested. That way, and it even says in the memorandum of understanding that it was not y'all give us the property, it was to let us use the facility. So whatever information you got didn't come from me, and there could have been a breakdown in the communication. For that, yes, but that's why I'm coming down. It's like, so I would expect your commissioner to have relayed all the proper information. If she was misunderstood, that is not my fault, but if there was clarification needed, there should have been reaching out to me.
You're right. I thought I was clear.
It's
so
okay.
I apologize, but I will make it right, and I'll reach out tomorrow to get that, and then I'll share that with all the board, and we'll start over.
Thank you.
And I apologize.
I appreciate that. Thank y'all's
you.
time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak? That's all.
I'm Jay Tankersley. So I was traveling and saw the dump truck purchase and whatever, you know. I sat on the interstate for 2.5 hours in traffic and watched it on my iPad, the whole thing. And then I was here last meeting when Mr. Gerard got up here and spoke. I mean, that guy is, what a speaker you've got. Seems highly intelligent. What was a little bit concerning to me was we went down this long road of talk about procurement. And then we get to the end of the road and he says, but that has nothing to do with purchasing dump trucks. Well, I don't really care about what the comments are about not purchasing dump trucks or procuring anything over $100,000. So I get a bunch of phone calls and everybody's mad and everybody's upset. And I was like, I don't know. I don't do your job. I don't know what the law says. So I did look into what the law said. Mr. Gerard said, you guys did a great job. So based off what I found, I just want to just listen and just state some facts. So I just started off with the OCGA contracting, purchasing, and sale of county property. I'm going to give you guys these documents when I get done so you can look at them. So it says local purchasing requirements. It's page 193 of this document. Very little state regulations exist for county purchasing other than procuring public works and road construction services. That's what he said, right? He talked about that a long time.
I don't recall exactly right.
Capital projects, buildings, and roads. And it says the majority of the purchasing requirements found in a county's local legislation or ordinance. It says some refer to as enabling legislation. So then I go to our Enabling Act. You guys are familiar with that. So then I go to section 12. And it says, formal sealed bids shall be received for all purchases in the amount over the state limit for sealed bids unless the board sets a lower limit. One sentence. Advertisement for such bids shall be published 2 consecutive weeks in the official organ of Walker County. 2 sentences. There's a third sentence where if there's an emergency, you guys can make a purchase. So then I look at the state law, what the state law says, because this says, formal sealed bids shall be received for all purchases and amounts over the state limit for sealed bids. Well, the state says, except as otherwise provided in this code section, contracts exceeding $100,000 shall be awarded by competitive sealed bid. So, Mr. Gerard referenced our purchasing policy. This is a guideline, it's not law. And I like to use a quote that you say is it's words on a piece of paper, not to be smart, but that's what it is. It's not the law. It has excerpts from the law in here, and it's a good reference guide. So in this procurement policy, Georgia Community Affairs, it says, newly enacted requirements effective April 28, 2019, based on the passage of House Bill 322, I better hurry up. It says that you have to post this on the Georgia procurement website. Anything over $100,000, you have to publish on the Georgia procurement website. And here's this OCGA document. So there in fact is a 254-page state manual on procurement. The Enabling Act saying, you follow what the state says. Do you agree? Is that what it says? It says you follow the state guidelines on their purchases. So then I get on the state side, and I just want to leave you guys with this. This is Catoosa County, and they just put some Class 8 dump trucks out to bid, and they're still waiting to award them. And these are their bid tabs that you guys can look over. So I know I'm out of time, and you guys can look at that. I would urge you to just maybe get with Mr. Gerard and have a work session on our procurement policy.
Wow, that's roughly way more expensive than we paid for ours.
No, they're actually quite a bit less.
No, ours are a little bit more with ours on class.
Actually.
Oh, a different class?
Yeah, no, this is the same class. High lift tailgates. These are white, not blue and red. These
480s aren't the same ones.
They're not the same as a class 8.
We bought 880s.
C480s.
480s medium duty truck.
880 would have been the same thing as a class.
Well, I'll leave you this bid document. I'm not trying to take more time than what I'm allowed.
I appreciate your research into something.
But it does state on their bid package, I want to leave you with this. This is very important. It does state on their bid package that these are When they have a 17-page document here that specs out their trucks, and this is Class 8. It's advertised as Class 8s. So I'll leave you guys with that.
Thank you, Jay.
Anyone else like to speak in the public comment section?
Scott McNabb, Rossville area. Chair, teams, board, gents. I wasn't even gonna speak tonight, but I felt like I needed to. I guess I've been coming to different meetings now for about 5 or 6 years. And I'm learning a little bit more and more, it seems like, every time I go to a different, either this board or the authority board or whoever board I go to. There's no communication between the two, and I understand what you're saying earlier about y'all are going to try to put a grip on that. Right. I guess I'd really like to start by telling Blake Hodge, thank you very much for saving my house. Between he and his 2 guys that was on the truck and Jay Tankersley and his son, we kept from burning my place. Also, thanks to the Water Authority, I'd been trying to get a fire hydrant for 6 years. And this one I've been here pretty much all my life. And this fire did something that I'd never seen do. And Blake is actually a witness. He was in my driveway 5 minutes before I called him back. So it just kind of went chaos there for a second. But thanks, Blake. He got us a fire hydrant. It's installed. I hope it works next time. But I guess, I don't know how he did it, but he pulled the string. So thanks, Blake. I guess on the Development Authority Board, I've got a few comments, and I think this is where I probably need to say them. I've been attending that particular board for the last year, and I started following why the sole commissioner was he was an appointed person, so Shannon had it 4 years all by himself with the group that's there now, pretty much. And now Chair Teams takes that position.
And I'm a board member, not the chair.
I understand, you're a board member at that board,
Yes.
but you're the chair here.
Yes.
But you take that position that Shannon left. Okay. So I guess the last, everything was going very well. I mean, I was learning a lot, going and listening to these folks talk, and was kind of excited at things that were coming in, and they would tell us stuff. And then all of a sudden, gosh, it was like somebody turned the can upside down. Now we show up, we get to, they say a blessing, don't even, that's about it, and make us go outside and stand for an hour and a half for executive session. Every meeting of the last 6 in a row, we've been basically sit there for 5 minutes and we're escorted outside the doors and they carry on executive session. So as far as I'm aware, and I guess I can do a little bit better digging, they have not sold a piece of property in the last few years. Any property that they've got listed in Walker County, there's not been any sold. We've not brought any new business in that same period of time. Also, we have a budget line item that we pay an individual on that board. Correct? We pay a salary. Well, I didn't know that. I learned that the hard way. But we do pay someone's salary to be sitting on that board. So I feel like there needs to be a little more communication. You're on the board now, and I'm hoping you'll be a little more transparent with us. I think with you on it and paying an individual, the citizens paying an individual, they should come here and tell us maybe what's going on. It's always been Project ABC or Doolittle and D-Dumb. We don't, I get that. I mean, I understand why they have to keep it quiet. But at the same time, I think at some point in time, they should be able to let us know, hey, we got something brewing and it's big. But I do agree with, somebody mentioned all the Barwick Mills, now the Yates Bleachery. I mean, there's some prime properties. Why ain't we selling them? So real quick, the last meeting I attended, I was very disappointed in the authority board. They had guys come in with a plan local people, very local, and they denied them a piece of property. And here we've not sold any in 3 or 4 years. To me, that's a problem as a citizen. And I think people need to know that because there's something to that entity. And I think it's time for people to know. And I'd invite y'all to be there next Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you have to take off work, but you need to be sitting there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I would like to ask Stephanie to come up real quick, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. If the board will allow me just a little bit of leniency. Please clarify who pays your salary, and please clarify.
Identification. We don't know who she is.
I haven't finished yet. So, and then also please speak to how the board works in the executive staff or executive session. And first of all, please tell us your name.
Stephanie Watkins. I am the Economic Development Director for the county. I do wear 2 hats, so I was elected as the Executive Director of the Development Authority. And the way that works, yes, I am staff for the county, and the Development Authority does reimburse a portion of my salary to the county for me serving as Executive Director for that board. Executive sessions, yes, we do go in executive session. We are allowed to discuss certain things by law. Real estate is one of those. And so we do have discussions. That is the time that we are able to discuss. And when decisions are ready to be made, they are made out in the public. So it may take several meetings for that to happen, just depending on the discussion. Sometimes we go back to those people. I would clarify, nothing was denied at the last meeting, as you claim. That is still a work in progress with him. So that's it.
And there's an enabling act that we abide by that says that the chairman of the county has to be a board member of that.
Yes, that is right.
Believe me, I don't want to be on any more boards than I have to be. So, okay, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Just for the record, just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak publicly? We're losing our crowd. Okay. Mr. Gates.
I'm Ned Yates. I'm a citizen. Madam Chairman, my interaction with you mostly has been negative. I don't intend it to be negative. I intend it to be constructive criticism. One of the things you ran on was transparency. I do have a recommendation to increase your transparency, apparent transparency. And that would be when we've got all these different things going on, somehow we need to get it out in detail to the citizens before these meetings. It would be greatly helpful because we don't know anything, and then you wonder why we appear as adversaries because we're ignorant, and then it appears that you've done nothing, but a lot of work has been done in the background. We don't see that, whether it be internet, Facebook, I don't know. I'm a digital dinosaur, okay? So I don't do that too well. But I will take a disagreement, and the Development Authority's property apparently was purchased in 2022 for a 200-foot buffer. I can't figure out why they bought nearly 100 acres more when they've got 400 that's only got one facility on it now. It doesn't make, to me, that's kind of unwise. The rumor is they're going to put a lithium-ion battery facility in there. I'm enough a chemist. I know what lithium does when it's exposed to oxygen. It burns. You can't put it out. That may or may not be true. But it doesn't look good. And I'll make a comment on Mr. Lassiter's and y'all's in the interaction with this board. Something y'all maybe need to look at. I've been starting to look at this. Y'all do not do a very good job of following that, Mrs. Teams. You need to read the book and understand how a meeting's supposed to be met, because I've already seen half a dozen things in this current meeting that were not done according to Robert's Rule of Order. Now, the last thing I'll say is, you run, Madam Chairman, you run the board. For anybody to speak, you have to give them permission. That's one example. The other thing I will say is, I asked you 2 questions. And I'm back to being negative net. You bought 2 trucks. You paid $100,000 more than what Mr. Bowers, Carlin Bowers, recommended that you buy. Apparently, you didn't do the right thing, but the point, and I'll ask you, is this. They had 3 axles. My understanding, the 3rd axle was taken off. Where are the axles, and what's the status of those axles? Thank you.
The axles were taken off by our staff and sold back to the dealership that we bought them for us. We have the cash and they have the axles.
What was the amount?
I don't recall them exactly.
Well, I think that's important for the public to know, because you could have bought a Peterbilt for $20,000 less per truck.
Thank you, Mr. Yates.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak for public comment? Anybody? Okay, we're moving on if nobody else wants to speak. Okay, here we go. Gosh, where are we?
Consent agenda.
Yes. So the consent agenda contains appointments to 3 boards and the acceptance of a grant for the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit Drug Court. One of the boards is the Walker County Water and Sewage Authority, which I am happy to now serve on as the chair. Per their enabling act, if a board member of this Board of Commissioners, serves on the Water Authority, they also serve as the chair because of the level of responsibility. So 13.1, I'm sorry, you don't see that, but Resolution R-038-25 to appoint Angie Teams as chair to the Walker County Water and Sewage Authority. The Resolution R-039-25 to reappoint Kay Thurman to the Lafayette Walker County Public Library Board. Resolution R-040-25 to appoint Randy Pittman to the Rossville Public Library Board. And then the approval of the LMJC Drug Court Fiscal Year 26 State Operating Grant. The fiscal year date is July 1st, 2025. So may I have a motion from the board for all of these appointments and the grant, please?
Motion
To
approve all these resolutions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? The motion's passed for all 4 appointments and the grant. Thank you. Do we need a recess or break? Are we good to go, or you want a break?
I'm good.
All right, we're moving on. To new business. Resolution R-041-25 to amend the fee schedule for various county services. We haven't adjusted fees at the landfill in a couple of years. It's been since 2023 exactly, and it's been even longer since we revised the fees for the animal services. And all the inflation, we've not kept up with that for our own expenses. So the new fee schedules for these services remain competitive. For them to remain competitive, we're offering to increase these to help the annual budget for these departments. I would like to get a motion from the board, please, on this resolution to amend the fee schedules.
Motion to amend the fees.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
So we're amending the landfill, and I don't think Payne is here.
Yeah, he's here.
But I asked him the last time we amended this, that we needed to start bidding this out.
What do you mean?
We need to bid on transferring the trash.
Okay.
So I asked, I'll support it this time, but next time we definitely need to bid.
So did you do that in 2023? Because that was my understanding the last time we changed the fees.
I think so. We just need to make sure we're being
Okay.
competitive.
Okay. So Mr. Blakemore makes the, what, Payne, would you like to say something? Please come up. Please come up, sorry. Just so the microphone allows everyone to hear it.
Hi, my name is Payne Gilly. I'm the Director of Solid Waste and Environmental Management. We did look into that. Our contract with Republic is up next year, and that would be the appropriate time to search for bids. Until then,
And what are our options as far as other places relatively close? I mean, how far is it to there from your landfill? About an hour?
Yeah, yes. In our area, it's limited. I mean, there's a place in Gadsden.
Okay.
That has quarters.
So there are other options,
Yeah.
relatively close. Okay. Well, I think it'll be good to bid.
Madam Chair, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, yes.
So, is it my understanding that they have a revolving contract, and you're saying it's up next year is when we would go to trying to
Renegotiate the
renegotiate the, was it a long-term contract?
Yes.
How was that contract written and what
Well, it
is?
was written before my time, but it was automatic.
10 or 11 years, maybe?
Oh, it probably goes back 15 years or so.
Okay.
Every 5 years, it automatically renews.
Okay.
So the next renewal is next year.
Okay. So every 5 years, it's automatic renewal unless the board opts out at any time. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
We can opt out as a board? Okay.
Yeah, at that time.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand how that contract was written, and I know it was before my
I'll be
time.
glad to send you a copy of it. Yeah.
I think it has a clause in it that says the board has to give notice to Republic before we do
Yes.
make a change. I can't remember how long it is. I think it's a month, but maybe 6
No,
months.
it's 60 days.
60 days, okay.
Oh, just so my understanding, that's why thank you.
Yeah, good question, thank you. Anything else for Mr. Payne? Thanks, Payne, appreciate
Okay,
you.
you're welcome.
I agree, Robert. I agree.
Okay,
It's
so,
gonna come up next year.
so the motion to approve, and then the comment
And I
to.
second it, yeah. The discussion would just be noted.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
discussing.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, it's so moved that we will raise the fees for the animal shelter and the landfill. So those fee schedules are on the table in the back if anybody wants to take one with you, so you know what the new fees will be for both departments. Resolution, I'm sorry, were you gonna?
Just taking notes.
When does that fee increase go into effect, and do they post it at the landfill for 30 days?
It's,
I
yes.
should have asked that question during discussion.
No, that's.
Effective July 1st?
Okay.
Yeah. And it will be posted immediately, yeah. All right, so Resolution R-042-25 to forgive back taxes in the amount of $3,070.85 for property purchased by the American Legion Post 339 in Lafayette for the 0.2 acre tract adjacent to their existing property, tax map and parcel number 1-038-083. Commissioner Hart, would you like to comment on that?
I can talk on it. I don't, Chauncey Fowler is not here. He's the commander right there. But the Legion opened up that building at the old dry cleaner shop on the west side of Lafayette maybe 3 or 4 years ago. There was a small tract in between them and a building south of there that somebody owned and didn't know they owned it because it got passed down in a deed, and it just kind of sat there, and all of a sudden they realized they owned it, and the Legion reached out to that person donated the property to the Legion, and the Legion will fix it up and use it for parking, and we've talked to the mayor of the city of Lafayette, Andy Arnold. They're going to vote on relinquishing, is that the right word? The taxes, yeah. Forgiving the taxes, yeah, those city of Lafayette, and that's what we're doing here for the American Legion. They do a lot in the community, so.
And you've talked to the tax commissioner?
Yes, Carolyn and I have communicated with Lisa, and we got all this on the agenda, so this is what they owe the county. And it was like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years of back taxes, it just the mother passed away, the daughter didn't know she owned it until she looked up and she had the back taxes on it. So she's just giving the Legion the land. We're just asked to forgive the back taxes. They've done a lot for that community, clean up that building really good over there, and been a very positive impact on Lafayette and Walker County. They do a lot of things. So.
Okay, thank you for that background.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion about this resolution?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so passes. Resolution R-043-25 for the transfer of funds to a secondary bank to establish a financial relationship. It is my fiduciary responsibility to ensure the long-term financial stability of this county. We need to explore some additional financial opportunities to help us manage and grow our assets. We will continue to use the Bank of Lafayette, which has been an amazing partner for many years. This resolution just gives staff the ability to explore other financial vehicles. And since this is my item, I'd like to tell the board that I have shared with you tonight a report from Regions Bank after I explored 4 banks, 4 different partners, opportunities, and Regions came out way ahead. Their interest rate opportunity was higher than the other banks. Their technical advancement was better than most of the other banks. And I'm making the motion that we use Regions Bank as a secondary financial partner. Can I have a motion on my request?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank
You made the motion.
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Well, I would like to say that Bank of Lafayette has been a good partner to us and to a lot of people in the county. I do understand you're trying to get a better interest rate, but I know you're gonna leave part of it in there, and I appreciate that. Just as we move forward and as interest rates change, we reach back out to them from time to time just to ask for their involvement with that. But they have been a very good partner for us.
I would agree with that, Madam Chair. They have. They've helped us for years and years, but the opportunity is there for you to take funds and actually produce quite a bit of revenue for us, and that will help us. But I agree with Brian that we do want to always and this is secondary. We'll still be doing primary business here in Lafayette.
Yes.
Anyway, correct? Okay.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, only thing I from the information I'm given from the backlog of when the county was so far in debt, Bank of Lafayette reached out. You've done your due diligence to ask them to match or help the county, and you're doing your best to do the best for the county. To raise revenue without raising taxes, what we both said when we were running last year, that we gotta figure out the way to raise revenue, and if you check with Bank of Lafayette, and then I think we need to move forward.
Yes, they were definitely involved in the discussions I was having with all the other banks.
Right. So you did what you needed to do to talk to them, to give them last right of refusal, I'd say.
Yes,
Thank you.
but they have been a great partner, will continue to be a great partner with us. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We will take on a new partner, financial partner. Resolution R-044-25 to enter into a contract for payroll services. I would like to invite our HR, Human Resources Director, Hugh Delacruz, to come up. You moved on me. I didn't know where you were. We have been exploring options to streamline our payroll processes, and Mr. Delacruz will explain to everyone what the processes have been.
Usually payroll does not lie with HR in our county. Sometimes it does. Here recently, I have taken over payroll temporarily until we fill that role. So I have seen firsthand from start to finish what payroll consists of. It is not a fun process. It starts on Tuesday and ends on Friday morning, and I'm rushing to submit everything to Bank of Lafayette by 2 o'clock because everybody loves to get paid on time. While I was in this process, I got invited in to entertain an idea about going to a payroll system. As I was already taking over payroll, Ms. Teams felt that this project would be better suited with me since I have that insight and everything the process on payroll goes through. When I first came on in January, I go to different departments, I talk to different office managers, I talk to directors, and there was a big deficiency on how payroll is done. We're still pen and paper. No one department is the same every time card. There's some kind of variation on it. It's archaic. Some of the historical value's not there, because if something happens to that paperwork, we just lost a whole year of payroll. Just last year, the auditors looked at our payroll. They found a discrepancy. Luckily, we had the paperwork at hand, but that will not be always the case. When I looked at the payroll system itself, I looked at 3 different companies and gave them the same parameters to make sure it was an even kill across the board. So that way one wouldn't stick out on the other and it wouldn't be a difficult decision for me to come about which one I would recommend. When I started this, I picked the number 1, it's ADP. I picked a mid-size, which is Paycor, and I picked another Paycom that I came into light when I took a, Hitachi tour. Mm-hmm. I spoke with their HR director and got some insight on the company and how they did payroll. And they gave me some information about Paycom and that they loved the service. I spent about a month and a half of my free time, in between projects and dealing with payroll and my HR duties. And I demoed it for about a month and a half, and not just one time, but several times. Demos lasting between an hour to 2 hours from all 3 companies. And I landed on Paycor because of the usability. I understand when you're introducing a new payroll system, it's all about the usability, because if it's clunky, too many analytics, too many tiles, our directors, our office managers, and our coordinators are going to have a tough time transitioning into using this payroll system. When it will enhance the full life cycle of employment, from recruiting to onboarding to benefits to payroll to final payout. It keeps PTO time, which is another archaic event that happens within the county. If you can ask any director here, every department keeps accountability different. It's on Excel spreadsheets. It's on pen and paper. There's possibility for human error. And here recently, I've done a few audits of people's PTO time. I've done audits on people's pay. I went back 2 pay periods in one department. I think us moving to a payroll system is going to enhance the whole life cycle. It's going to free up time for productivity. I understand we're going to be paying these employees regardless if they get this payroll system or not. But if we can take 2 or 3 hours, because that's what it takes for a payroll to be entered from a coordinator or an office manager, and cut it down to an hour, they can field more calls at the road department, or they can file more paperwork, or they can be freed up, and the productivity level will go up with the labor costs going down. When it came to the pricing of these 3 companies, Paycom stood out. I discussed some of this with Mr. Hart, and he too arised on how the different price points are. I did not do this on purpose. They did not elect to give me this information until about a week ago. When I got done with all of the demos, ADP was $84,000. Paycom was $93,000. But Paycor is $38,000. And with Paycor, obviously we're going to do an onboarding fee of $65,000, but something that they also offered is a 2-year price lock, where it stays the same for 2 years. But after that, they have another safety net of it only raises 5% on an annual rate. That way, I'm very confident that we're that this will not go up to these other prices like ADP and Paycom. The usability is good. I've demoed it. I'm not a financial guru. This is my first time being in payroll. It was very user-friendly to me. I've expressed it to the new CFO. He was amazed on the pricing because information he gave me is that Whitfield County has a payroll system, but it accounts for time only. And it's roughly about the same price if I remember. It's more. But we're getting an HR function, onboarding and recruiting, PTO, plus we're getting payroll. And with payroll, that includes benefits. They govern, it's called an EDI fee. When somebody gets hired onboarded here at Walker County, we don't have to take the time to do a benefits meeting. They have all that information on a touch. They can log in, they can see their PTO hours, they can see their elections. Everything can be used on a computer, it can be used on their tablet, it can be used on their phone. But the good part is when we move to this service, it's user-friendly. You can clock in with your phone, you can clock in on a computer, or you can clock in on a time card on there. So that'll cover each department because the sheriff's office, the majority of their work offices is in their patrol cars. They're not coming to a physical office. That way we could open up to them to where they can use their mobile devices, so their computers in their cars. But I'm recommending that we move forward with this Paycor because then we can reevaluate that placement of an employee in that role. AP is a role that needs to be expanded. There is one person that pays their bills with the county, and the county is growing. The bills pile up, and I think it's a role that needs to be expanded in some capacity. I understand Paulette has been here for over a decade. She's very knowledgeable, but we are growing as a county, and that role needs to grow with it. My intent is we hire an employee, which we're actually about to fill this role next week, but we modify it to where they work in AP and payroll. Since we're reducing the workload in payroll, they can pick up the slack at AP. That way, we don't have to hire a new position job. We just reevaluate the current jobs that we have now and repurpose them. That's all my discussion is about this.
Okay. Yes, please do.
Just a couple of quick questions. You sound like you've run this thing through pretty hard. As far as dealing with payroll and things like that and people's livelihood, this service, it's a contractual agreement with an existing I know you tested several different ones to try to see what was the best user-friendly and what seemed to be best. What about I want to know how secure this is, and I want to know if we've looked into that, how deep we've looked into the security of this particular company, of this system, because we're putting out a lot of information there. I mean, it's accessible, I guess, and so that's my only concern. I think it sounds like a good idea, but I want to know how secure is this company, and have we talked to any with our IT people if they're familiar with any of those companies or the security of a payroll contractual, payroll company, period. I'm just curious about
I'd like to answer if I don't mind, then you can add to it. So with us going to Regions Bank, this is the vendor they use for their payroll. It's highly secure.
Okay.
And because we are now going to Regions, is why we get the deep discount that Mr. Dela Cruz shared with us.
That's good information. See, I mean, that's what I needed to hear.
And I would like to add to it, I did explore those concerns because anytime you move any kind of valuable asset outside the county, the first red flag is going to be about security.
Sure.
Every company that I've researched has the same modality of security. It takes a lot of the tax liability off of us because they will be paying their taxes. So if there's any discrepancies with their taxes, we will not be liable for those. If there's any discrepancies with their W-2s or any discrepancies with their anything that comes out of that company, the company's going to gonna cover the cost. So it pushes a lot of liability off of us, but frees us up to, just like I said, this one recommendation I had for that new role. That role is still there, but we can revamp that role and put it into a place to where it would benefit the county better instead of having a payroll person, because like I said, I've done payroll for about a month and a half now. I'm currently doing payroll this week. I still have to submit the final stuff to Lafette tomorrow morning, and it takes about, from Tuesday to Friday morning, about 11 o'clock, just to clear payroll off of her books and get everybody paid.
I understand the full concept there. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if we're looking at entering into a contractual agreement with somebody that's handling something as delicate as the employee's money, that I just wanted to make sure to ask the right questions.
Yeah,
I
and
wanted to hear the right answers. So.
I can give you the information. I actually have a slide deck on their security that they use if you would like that in your email.
This board will have to sign that agreement, so you'll have a chance to read it too.
I just was kind of wanting to get a better understanding, so I can be thinking about it.
I don't want anybody to be nervous about this, but like he said at the very beginning, it's very common for all types of companies and entities to use outside vendors now. Okay. Because of the cost of having inside help.
When I've done my research, because when I first got brought into this project, I reached out to my counterparts in Catoosa County and Whitfield County, and they all have a payroll service provider in some capacity. And it feels like we can have that service too, but I felt like I couldn't not recommend this because of the value it brings. Yeah. $38,000 a year is unheard of when I'm looking out there. And like I said, Christian brought it to light when he was questioning me on how I got the price, or how is this, the price is so cheap. Even Mr. Hart said that he is still kind of hesitant because of the price. But I have saw the contract, the numbers are the same. The verbiage is there with the 2-year lock with the 5% annual cap on increase. So I'm very good about this Paycor recommendation.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Appreciate you. No, ma'am.
No? Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you. So I will make the move to motion that we approve Paycor as our new payroll vendor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any opposed? Any other discussion? All in favor? Oh,
I'm sorry. One last question. So you said, Hugh, I'm sorry, you don't have to come back up. The 2-year lock, the 5%. So we got that for 2 years, for sure.
Yes.
How long is this contract for?
It's going to be for 2 years.
It'll be for 2
So
years.
it's a 2-year.
It's a 2-year agreement.
It's a 2-year agreement with the 2-year lock.
Yeah, with the 2-year lock, but
All right.
with
That's
the next contract, it's going to have a cap of 5% annual
Okay.
increase.
Even after we renew, if we do, in the 3rd year, yeah.
And then when we do renew, when the contract is extinguished, I'm going to make sure that the same verbiage on the next contract will be the same. That way we lock in that 5% cap year after year.
Thank you. Good question. All right, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes to move to Paycor for our payroll vendor. Thank y'all. Okay. Resolution R-045-25, authorizing and approving payment into the pension plan for the employees of Walker County, Georgia. I'd like to recognize Compliance Officer Alex Jagulitz. Where'd she go?
She's taking a stand.
Hi.
So this resolution, last month, we voted to unfreeze the Walker County Pension Plan, which had been frozen since 2012. So at that time, if you look at page 9 of the attachment in the agenda, it's available, it will show you that at the time of the unfreezing, the pension plan was funded to 90% even. And so at the time of the unfreezing, you go to the next column, it shows that it went down to 62.2%. And that is because of the wages and the changes in wages, as well as the mortality change. So they gave us 3 recommendations, they being Gallagher, or also known as Buck in our prior relationships. So if you go to page 13, It discusses that if we were to keep that exact same rate to go to 90%, we would need to contribute $4.9 million. And to be honest, we don't have that to contribute. But we do want to provide security and comfort level to the pensioners, and we discussed it with Angie and the CFO in regards to the comfort level of the county. And the recommendation was to provide one of the alternative contributions, which is an additional $1 million, and the normal amount that we've been contributing, which is $840,000 a year. So that's $70,000 a month. So that will not change. So that's going to stay exactly the same as it has for the previous years that we've been providing in the pension plan. So that is the amount that was a comfort level provided by the previous CFO, and that I think was discussed with Angie and how we would want to move forward. So that's the recommendation for this resolution. Do you have any questions in regards to it?
No, not really. I'm assuming that our board of, what do we call them?
Trustees?
Trustees. Everybody's on board, I mean, everybody.
Yes.
I'm just asking that, because it's been a long process, as you well know.
Yes.
We know it's been a long process, and so we just want to make sure that everybody, that's been one of the things that we've said all along. I think everybody on this board said, we want to make sure everybody's good before we.
Yes. So the two new trustees were added, and that, and then there was a meeting on May 22nd. Angie and I both attended. It was presented, Gallagher presented that to the trustees, and that was the approval. And they reviewed all of the contribution methods that could be provided, and that was the one that they also agreed they felt the most comfortable with.
Thank you.
One question.
Hold on.
So with that solution, is that 6.8 years, that's how long it's gonna take to fully fund it, almost 7 years?
With the $1 million and the $70,000 per month, and 6.8 will be funded. So after the $1 million contribution, what percent would it be funded? I think that's the right way to word it.
I don't think I have the actual percentage that it would bring us up to. I know that what Commissioner Wilson just stated in regards to lowering the amount of years for it to amortize. So I don't have that actual percentage then provided.
So it's gonna be lower than the 6.8 years that's shown right here?
I think if you actually, hold on just a second, I'll get you to that page.
No, it means it
That's
would be
when it
6.8.
will be. He wants to know what it will be when you put the $1 million in. Like,
So if you go to page-
92%?
That's what I'm saying, that this shows 1 million plus the 840,000 a year, and it's saying 6.8. Is it gonna be lower than 6.8 after we put $1 million in?
Well, it's
or-
at 68% now, right?
Yeah, 68.
But I'm just wondering how long we're gonna be paying out the 840.
So it's amortized for 15 years. So we have 15 years to get to that point.
Okay.
And with the $1 million, it's going to, as far as I understand, it's going to lower it to the 6.8.
Okay.
You're
$1 million
giving us.
lower to the
Yes,
6. Okay,
yep.
that makes, that.
Sorry, I
thank you.
wasn't understanding what you
No,
were
that's
saying.
fine.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
that's on page 11 of the
Yes.
attachment, if you wanted to
Yeah.
look at that. And
That's
that
what I
talks
was
about the
looking at.
different alternative
So
methods.
it's 15 years, pay $1 million, it's gonna bring it to 6.8.
Correct.
I'm good.
All right, any further questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion from the board, please.
I make a motion that we pay the $1 million and the 70,000 more.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you, Alex, for doing that. The pensioners will be very happy with us. Resolution R-046-25 to increase the budgetary amount for ACCG and IRMA risk insurance. I'd like to recognize again our CFO, Christian Roach, to come over and tell us what this means to us.
So, this was what we y'all discussed in the beginning to amend to remove this from the agenda, just because I looked into it and it was not something that we needed to increase the budget for. So basically, we paid this yearly contract with ACCG, and the increase was about $20,000 yearly. And we've already budgeted for that, so there's no reason for a budget amendment.
Okay, good deal.
So that's pretty much the gist of it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh, hang on, is there any questions from the board about that? It originally said $38,000, and that's what I amended in the beginning.
So are we gonna just take that?
We're not
totally
owing,
off?
we don't owe any more.
Still, if we pass that resolution, it's increased.
We don't owe anymore. That's if we owed that $38,000.
So we'd
I should
strike
tell
the
y'all.
resolution.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Striking the resolution.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Christian.
No vote required.
Thanks, sir.
All right, again, I'll entertain a motion from the board,
Make a motion to remove
to, mhm.
from
That
the
resolution. Okay.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so struck. Resolution R-047-25 to authorize the chair to complete the Hinkle Fire Station project. It's another hot topic. After reviewing the splashed project list for 2013 and 2020, and considerable debate in the community about whether this should be only a fire station or a hybrid fire station and community center, we feel the best course of action would be to complete this facility as a fire station. This resolution will solidify that path and the usage of the splosh funds to continue to renovate, well, it's not renovation, it's to complete the building. So I will make the motion that we approve this resolution to move forward as a fire station only. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
So I will say, it's been a hot topic. I want to appreciate Chief Hodge, Mr. Persley, has spent a lot of time over the last, I told y'all we were working on it, it's gonna take some time. But we can come up, we've met with architects, the plans, we went to the original design, we're gonna complete it as a fire station and move forward. It's sat there for, does anybody know when the building was built?
Plans are dated 2015.
Yeah, so it will be completed sometime, hopefully by the end of this year. We are in the permitting phases with the county, and then once all the permitting is complete, we will put the MEPs out and bid the MEPs individually. By way of me, Mr. Persley, the chief will be working on heading this up to try to minimize costs for the county and use the funds that were allotted for that project. And have it completed. Hopefully we can have a nice little grand opening.
Next week?
No.
He did a second, so.
Yeah, you're the vote.
That was,
No, he just
I seconded
yeah,
it.
okay.
And we're voting.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes to continue the work on the Hinkle Fire Station as a fire station. Resolution R-048-25 to designate a regular meeting location. So we have been renovating the old Board of Education building on Duke Street to provide space for the magistrate court. And it will also be a new meeting space for this Board of Commissioners monthly meeting. This resolution designates that building as Courthouse Annex 4 and moves our regular meeting to that location effective for July 10th. So this will be our last meeting in this room if the board approves this. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Y'all ready to move? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed that we will have a new regular meeting location at 201 South Duke Street in Lafayette, just down the street from the administration office. All right, amendment to Trail Development Agreement and grant of temporary access and construction easement with the Trust for Public Land for the Chickamauga Battlefield Connector Trail. I'd like to recognize Communications and Community Development Director Joe Legee to tell us about this project and how we're going to save money.
Thank you. If y'all will grant me just a little bit of leeway here, we've got basically two competing issues, and then they come together as one. During some of the water authority's sewer redirection work that was done around Osborne Road, it was discovered that we have a culvert that is, it's a very large culvert that's failing and needs to be replaced. The culvert actually needs to be replaced before the Chickamauga Battlefield Connector Trail project can actually move forward. Now, back in March, we received bids from 5 qualified contractors for work on the Chickamauga Battlefield Connector Trail. The lowest bid actually exceeded the available construction budget that we had for the trail by about $300,000. CTI Engineering reached out to the companies that bid on the trail project to get an estimate from them to see what it would cost to replace the culvert as well. The lowest price for replacing the culvert was $232,000. Thankfully, it came from the company that also had the lowest bid for the trail project. So it was brought to our attention by TPL, that's the Trust for Public Land, who is our project manager on the Chickamauga Battlefield Connector Trail, that if the county had a little bit more skin in the game, that they would actually be able to go out and solicit more investment from private donors. And that's basically why we are here today, is we're requesting approval to amend our management agreement with TPL to include the culvert replacement under the trail project contract. If we do it this way, we're actually going to save the county $72,075, and we'll get the trail project moving again.
Good work.
That was a lot
Thank
more
you.
concise than I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Is there any questions from the board?
So what's the skin in the game that the county's having to put forth?
So we will be putting in, it's in your packet there, it's about $159,000 for the culvert replacement.
But the culvert would have cost us over
would've-
$300,000
Right.
if we had
Yeah.
done it on our own, had to do it.
Thank
Yep, I'm glad, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Joe.
that.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion from the board to amend the agreement.
Motion to amend the agreement.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's see, I'm gonna ask Chief Hodge to come up while I read this, because these next two things are his purchase requests. Purchase order 2025-00001720 for $43,147.00 to NAFECO for the Walker County Fire Department to purchase 13 sets of Lion 5V, with a 5, Force Armor Gear. So we'll talk about that one first, if you will, Mr. Chief Hodge.
All right, thank you. This request, along with the following, are a part of our equipment, reoccurring equipment cost each year. We do this to minimize costs overall, because if we didn't make small purchases each year, cost goes up every year with inflation. We end up spending millions of dollars on things that at one time that's hard to come by. So these are forecasted purchases that we've done every year. So this first one's for 13 sets of gear. We try our best to maintain firefighters with 2 sets of gear so they can keep them clean, to prevent hopefully cancer and other health issues related to the byproducts of combustion in these fires. So this is simply for 13 sets. We normally do 12 to 13 sets a year.
So this is in your budget?
This is it's in the capital outlay in the budget.
Let me go ahead and read the second one, you will find a study for that one too. Purchase order 2025-00001721 for $53,346.42 to Municipal Emergency Services for the purchase of 6 Scott self-contained breathing apparatus systems and 12 Scott Snap Quick Change bottles for the Walker County Fire Department. Can you expand on that?
Yes, ma'am. This is for our breathing apparatus, the air packs firefighters wear in structural firefighting or any endangered life and health environment. This, again, is part of a replacement program. We have over 175 harnesses, and then we have around 300 cylinders. The need is around 160, but we probably have 20 to 30 harnesses that we're using for parts. We have our own technicians that maintenance these to also save cost, because outsourcing repairs on SCBA's is just incredibly expensive. So we send them to class, we get them trained, and they work on these. So this is just a part of, again, keeping our keeping our air packs up to date, in service. And unfortunately, we're a large department. It takes a lot of air packs to fulfill the need.
And because both of these purchases are over my limit of $25,000, that's why they're brought to the board today. Are there any questions from the board for Chief Hodge?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there a motion from the board, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there
On
a
both?
second? I'm sorry, yes, it's a motion for both. I appreciate that, yes.
Motion to approve both.
Thank you.
Second.
To approve both.
Yes.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, both of these resolution purchases, I'm sorry, these purchase requests are approved. All right, the next three items are the planning and zoning items that we had public hearings on earlier this evening. The first one is Mr. Garfield Dixon requests a rezone from commercial to residential for his property located at 154 Chattanooga Valley Road, Flintstone, Georgia, 30725. Tax map and parcel number 0-079-028. And as a reminder, the Planning Commission recommended this rezone be approved. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we support that request from the planning commission and approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes to approve. The next one is Wanda Darlene Myers requests a partial rezone from residential to commercial for her property located at 705 Park City Road, Rossville, Georgia, 30741. Tax map and parcel number 0-191-093. The Planning Commission recommended this rezone be approved with conditions. Those conditions include the requirement that a fence or landscaping be put up on the residential side of the property, and that the entrance design be approved by the road superintendent. So those are the conditions as the Planning Commission approved with. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll motion to approve it with the conditions that are tied to it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion passes to approve with conditions. And the third one is Jackson Abbasi, I hope I'm saying that right, requests a conditional use variance to operate a dog kennel boarding business out of her residence located at 609 Holly Drive, Rossville, Georgia, 30741. Tax map and parcel number 0-190-048. And a reminder, the Planning Commission recommended this variance be denied. And we had a testimony from our Animal Services Director with recommendations to approve. What's the pleasure of the board for this one?
I would make a motion to approve this variance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, one question. So if there is a problem, and I don't think there will be, but if there was a problem, who would police that problem? Bailey, I'm assuming? The one that recommended, okay.
Yeah.
Or if it's a codes violation, Johnny would be involved in that.
Okay.
Or the tag team.
Yeah, or they'll work together.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
they do a lot anyway.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, John, what you got?
For our discussion with her as well, is my recommendation on this conditional use variance that when the occupants change, this is no longer active, so therefore another operation cannot.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
So the conditional use variance is tied to the actual owner?
Yep.
Yes, sir, that's
Yep.
correct.
Okay.
That way, we can't continue this, we would have to come back in front of the board.
Exactly.
So would you amend your motion to
Yes.
include that?
Yes, I will amend my motion to include what our building official said.
And I will amend the second to include that as well.
So amend with conditions? So
Yes.
it's approved with conditions, but conditions that it only goes with the property?
No, it only goes with the
I mean,
occupant.
sorry, it goes
Occupant.
with the owner. Sorry, that's right.
Current deed, the deed is in your name, so.
Okay, I think we got that. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I did color these right? Okay. So it's been amended and approved or seconded. Any other discussion?
No, ma'am.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this is approved with those conditions as stated. Now, we are at the commissioner comments. I'm gonna reverse it this time, and I'm gonna go with Gene first. I'm trying to keep you on your toes.
Well, I said, I appreciate everybody coming out. It's been a long one. I know a lot of people left, and I will say again, when I ran for this position last year, it was a hot topic with the Hinkle Fire Station, and I'm glad to say that we're moving forward, okay? I think most people that live up there will. I know it may not be to some pleasures that it's not gonna have a community center, but with my meetings and research, and we don't need to intermingle community with fire services, okay? So, I think we're gonna get what we need out of what's there. I was given what I was given, and I'm trying to do the best with what we got to do with, okay? So, but I'm very pleased finally that it's gonna be moving forward, and we're gonna get what you need. And I hope everybody else will agree with that, but thanks for all the participation for sure. And hopefully, like I said, we'll, not next week, but we'll have a grand open and can have the community out there.
Very good. I would like to point out that our farmer's market in Rock Springs opened yesterday, and will be open every Wednesday. And then the farmer's market in Lafayette is open every Saturday. So get out and support your local farmers there. I would like to commend our chairwoman on a great event she had at Mount Cove Farm. So I thought she was crazy when she was going to do it, but I went out there and it was great because I think 75% of the employees came, and I really enjoyed it. So very good job.
Thank you.
on that. That was very thoughtful, and I know all the people enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Mark?
I would, Brian, I appreciate you mentioning that. 27 Farmers Market's been a soft spot with me for years. It's been there, was there for a long, long time. A lot of the local residents up there have used it. Provides a good service. Food Around lost it there for a little bit, but due to the hard work of you guys bringing it back.
Yes, Sarah's worked very hard on it.
Well, I think it's a group effort, and I'm just tickled to see it and want to support that. Also, always, I want to thank everybody for your participation. Keep coming, tell us what you think, and it helps us. You know, everybody's not always going to be happy, but we're going to do the best we can. So, thank you for your participation.
Mr. Blakemore?
Just appreciate everybody coming out, being involved. Thank you to all the employees, department heads. Thank you, commissioners, for what y'all do. People don't realize what we do or what we put into this job, and most of the time all we hear is griping and complaining. So thank y'all for what you do.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. All right, is there any need for executive session? All right, then we stand adjourned.